Us in a moment as will be France's narrow victory against Australia. But we start with Argentina's 1-1 draw against Iceland. Iceland, of course, the smallest nation to ever qualify for the World Cup. Argentina led by Lionel Messi. How did this happen?
Argentina didn't play well enough and Iceland played very well, and I was disappointed with the way they were set up. Argentina, two holding midfield players that didn't really, they were too deep, they're not going to create too much. Lionel Messi had to come deeper, he had to almost play 3-1-2s before he could get anywhere near goal. The two wide players didn't give enough, Messi down the right hand side and Di Maria down the left hand side. Aguero scored a great goal, but it was too slow, it was too pedestrian, they didn't switch play quickly enough, and it allowed Iceland to get good shape, good discipline, and every time they went forward, Iceland, when they got the ball forward into wide areas and got crosses into the box, Argentina struggled. It was a poor performance by Argentina.
It's a weird thing, isn't it? Iceland could have scored 3 in the first half.
Yes, and it comes not from them just committing a whole lot of numbers forward. It's a couple of turnovers by Argentina, and all of a sudden Iceland with 2 and 3 players, you have sitters. Bjarnason has a clear chance, clear opportunity to begin the game. The sort of nerves that you have from Argentina in that back line, and indeed Willy Caballero, the goalkeeper, you don't expect this from an Argentina national team. So I must look at this team and say, hold on a second. We have so much talent going in this direction, but back there, any time that the ball went in that direction, as Robo just pointed out, it was last-ditch effort, sort of tackle, sliding tackle, kind of see desperation, see what we can get out of this, and somehow we regain possession, and then maybe we go in the attack. Argentina was disappointing in so many different ways. Individually, yes, but certainly as a team, their inability to make decisions on the go and understand that, look, we got to pick up the pace of the game, because every time we take 3 and 4 touches on the ball, Iceland can get behind the ball, and that's it. The chances are gone. Lionel Messi had 3 or 4 guys around him at every time that he touched the ball. That's to the credit of Iceland, but I think it also has to do with the inability of Argentina to recognize where the spaces are. Angel Di Maria, as talented as he is, he must be one of the dumbest players I've ever seen in my life.
Wow.
His inability to recognize that, look, everything is happening down the middle, so why are you coming inside as well? And he does this so often, and then starts dribbling inside. That brings more people into that area. There's no time and space to play. Stay out wide. Give yourself some space, and then allow to be that free space between the center backs and the right back. That allows a runner to come out of the midfield. That allows Messi to run into that space, or maybe Aguero to have a diagonal run. But Di Maria comes inside. Messi comes inside. There is no width. There's no service into the box. How are you supposed to break down a team that is so well organized? I don't know.
I've seen some people suggest that this isn't that big a shock, because Iceland, of course, have impressed in the past, making it through to the quarterfinals of the Euros. But come on, this is Argentina.
Yeah, exactly. And I think in saying that, Iceland got organized. They did what they needed to do. But they won the penalty, Argentina. You think they go in the lead. Yep. Messi has his penalty saved. And otherwise, I think there's some nerves. And this Argentinian team, I think they know they're not as good as they can be. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago. You look at the numbers in the back. They've got a ton of attacking flair, but do they have that balance to be good defensively, good attacking?
But are they aging? They've got lots of attacking flair going forward. They've got the world's best player in Lionel Messi, who can play around pressure. They've got Aguero as a centre forward. But I didn't think the wide players, and you just mentioned Di Maria being dumb, they didn't do enough in wide areas. The two holding midfield players were never really passing it into the front areas. They're passing it to the fullbacks. The fullbacks can't see a forward pass, so they're going to the centre halves. So there wasn't a great deal of attacking flair, unless it went to Messi, and he's playing around corners and trying to play little 1-2s.
This is the problem, it seems, in the sense that everything is all about getting the ball to Messi. If you get the ball to Messi, he runs, loses it, bounces off over, it goes back to an Argentinian player, all starts again.
There was almost sometimes
like deja vu.
But there was almost times we got the ball to Messi. Now let's all stand around and watch what he's going to do, and just almost like be a fan of what he's going to do.
All those players are worried about is how can they play the 1-2 with him, and he knows that. He's playing balls around the court, and Aguero actually played well to get the ball back to on several occasions. And then Iceland got bodies in front of him and got blocks in. But there was one player that I thought was magnificent, and I'm going to use that word again, magnificent, for Iceland, and that was Sigurdsson. He was the player that every time he got the ball, he was producing that next forward pass. He produced the 2 crosses that caused problems for the Iceland goal. And every time he was in possession, he just held it up enough and wriggled out of situations just to allow other players to get forward to cause Argentina.
But remember, Iceland had like 27% possession, so he didn't have the ball at his feet too many times.
He did very well with it.
He relieved the pressure that they had.
The other thing I would say, if you're Jorge Sampaoli and you're standing there and you see how the game is going, you have to change it. That's why you're there.
Can they change it, though, Ollie? That's the question.
Well, but I think at least you can make the effort. You bring Higuain earlier into the game. Yeah. You play with two strikers, and then you start asking for balls to be served into the box early, not having to get to the end line every time. No, how about we turn Iceland around and force them to defend in uncomfortable positions? If every time that Iceland is going to defend everything is in front of you, then it's simple, it's easy. You have everything in front of you, and all the movements so slow, lacking dynamic. If you're Argentina, how are you going to break down this team? Well, it's not working through the passing down the middle. Maybe we go with early services. And if you put a guy like Higuain in the box alongside Agüero, now you're forcing Iceland to defend numbers. And maybe, in that case, you jump on a rebound, something falls to Lionel Messi, top of the 18-yard box, and you have created an opportunity where there wasn't.
More and more, and the runs they should have made is how they got the penalty. Messi, for once, had a little bit of time on the ball, and it doesn't matter how many players are in front of it. If you can lift that ball in between a fullback and a centre-half for somebody making the run, that's going to kill any defence. And it was about to kill. He was about to get onto the end of it when he was shoved over.
You mentioned the penalty. Do you let Messi take any more? His record is not good from the spot.
You take the ball off of Messi.
Well, but surely, isn't that your job as a coach, to make the big, hard decisions? If you see Lionel Messi, who has missed 50% of his last 10 penalties, surely you've got to certainly consider that decision.
Similarly to yesterday when we saw Cristiano Ronaldo about to take the free kick and you were thinking, well, maybe the left-footed player is a better angle to him.
We knew he wasn't going to do it.
Okay, he was never going to do it. It's never going to happen with Lionel Messi. No.
And should it happen, though?
I think you have to trust Lionel Messi.
Well, it only happens if
we know Agüero.
Well, it's better than that.
Look, it only happens if Messi says
yes. It has to come from
Lionel Messi. It has to come from Messi.
It really has to come from Lionel Messi. Or maybe there's a conversation with Lionel Messi from his teammates. But who in that locker room is going to say, Leo, I'm the guy. Let me take the penalties. It's just not going to happen.
They get a penalty in the next game? Is he going to take it?
Yes. Lionel Messi is going to take it, yes.
I don't think he should.
I don't think he should either, but he's going to take it.
Yeah, but I don't think that's the question. Should he? Well, we see the record is not good, and it hasn't been good for a while. This is not new.
No.
We've seen him miss penalties with Barcelona and with Argentina as well. But we also know, having been in locker rooms, that when you have the team leader, the guy, and he's the one that picks up the ball, everybody moves to the side.
Given what happened over the last 24 hours, obviously with Ronaldo scoring a hat-trick, Messi missing the penalty, and Argentina just with a draw, the Messi-Ronaldo debate has obviously gone on, and I don't want to have that debate. I honestly don't, because I don't feel that we should judge them on 90 minutes, surprisingly enough. But what I do want to do, Frank, I was going to talk to you about France's match, but I just want to get your take on this, the fact that Messi and Ronaldo are under the spotlight so much, and people are so driven to compare the two.
Well, you have to compare them because, for me, they both belong to another planet. When you see for the past 10 years, what they achieved for their own club, but also, well, mostly for Ronaldo for his country when he won the European Championship, you, of course, have the need of comparing the two of them. Because after, even if you maybe put Neymar just below, it's an empty vase, just below them, you have nobody. We try in France to put Griezmann not too far from them, but I think they both belong to another planet, and they're absolutely fantastic players. We saw Ronaldo yesterday. I saw how he got tuned in before his free kick. He scored 2 goals already. He knows it's the last maybe chance, and he breathes in, breathes out, very tuned in. And score the hat-trick, and that showed the character of the guy and the willing of giving his best for his country. For Messi is a genius. I don't know if he knows how to work hard. That's maybe the problem when he has difficulties. He has a tendency to disappear. And with the Argentinian team, the other don't really play for him. When you sign from Barcelona, even if you're Neymar, you know that the first guy you have to search when you have the ball is Neymar, and you have to give him the ball, and after you have to move around to offer him possibilities of giving you the ball back, maybe. But with the Argentine team, it's not the case. You have some players who think they are as stars as Messi. I think about Di Maria, Agüero, Higuain, and some others, and they don't make the movements, or they don't offer him possibilities as some people say, you know, somebody comes for the ball in his feet, somebody asks behind the defense like he sees, and every time he has the ball, Barcelona are playing. They don't play the same way. So whose mistakes is about and is from is maybe Messi has to react differently with the national team, and the players have to react also differently, or maybe play more with him. But Messi is very disappointing with the national team, where Ronaldo still give him best. I'm more a Messi guy, but with the national team, I'm 100% with Ronaldo.
Let's just take a look what else happened in that group, shall we? The last game saw Croatia defeat Nigeria by 2-0. Are we going to be in a conversation about the possibility of Argentina not making it through to knockout?
There is a possibility, because when you watch Croatia play today and you see the way that Rakitic and Modric control the midfield, and then you match that up as to what potentially would be for Argentina, whether that's Biglia, Vanega or Mascherano, you can certainly make a case that, yes, Croatia would be able to control the midfield against Argentina just the same way, and they have better attacking players than Iceland does. So in terms of matchup, unless Argentina plays a whole lot better, Croatia looks like the better team. The team, not the individual, the team. And the collection of talent of Croatia seems to be put together better than that of Argentina's.
Yeah, I thought Croatia were excellent today. You talked about their midfield players, also the two centre-halves. We've seen Lovren play for Liverpool and make mistakes. Today, when balls were played into the box, Igalo's a tough player to play against. When he was at Watford, he could twist and turn. He was good in the air. Lovren handled him quite well, so did Vida. And they won balls back in midfield, and they counter-attacked quite well. And they've got Mandzukic, who we've seen many, many times. He's good in the air. He won the header for the corner that created the first goal. So they look the all-round team. Argentina's hope is that Nigeria play as badly as they did today when Argentina played.
Could they not make it, Casey?
Yeah, of course they could not make it. I mean, I think Nigeria will get better. I think Croatia were a very good team. You just look at what they have on paper, and it looks like, you know, they were a little fortunate today. Yes, they played very well, but it wasn't as if Azujo in goal, this 19-year-old kid, was flying around making saves everywhere. You know, they got a goal on an own goal and a silly foul for a penalty.
But it was a really comfortable performance. That's what I was.
It was. No, it was comfortable, and they didn't have to be, you know, really attack-minded, because they got the fortunate goals when they got them.
Now let's take a look at what the bookies have to say about who is going to advance from this group. Croatia 6-1 on. Argentina still 7-2 on. They're still confident that they can make it through to the round of 16. Iceland 9-4. Nigeria, after that defeat, come at 6-1. Just a reminder, if you ever miss a show, you can download our daily podcast over on the website, as well as the show. There's plenty of bonus material as well. Welcome back. France kicked things off with a 2-1 victory over Australia, but boy, was it underwhelming from Deschamps' side. Let's welcome Frank Leboeuf back to the show. Frank, I imagine, despite the victory, the reaction hasn't been that positive in France.
No, not at all. We are quite disappointed, and it was a poor game. We expected much more, you know, especially for our three at front, where we thought that was a very good idea from Didier Deschamps to put Dembélé instead of Giroud, giving more pace with Mbappé being alongside him and Griezmann maybe just behind the two of them. But it didn't work. It didn't work because Griezmann didn't exist. We didn't see Dembélé, and Mbappé lasted maybe 10 minutes, the 10 first minutes, and that was all. No pressures at all on the back four of the Socceroos. Nothing. No intuition, no flair, no power. Almost nothing. And on top of it, craziness, like the Umtiti arm on the penalty kick. Very, very disappointed. We are waiting for much more. You have to congratulate the Socceroos. They did the perfect game. They didn't deserve to lose. But we can't hope winning anything if we carry on like that. We are far from there.
This is so weird, Robert. You take a look at Dembélé, Mbappé, Griezmann, Pogba. There's so much talent there. Yet you take a look at this and you look at chances, they were few and far between. And as Frank's not underplaying this, they didn't really deserve to win.
was no real link-up play. They weren't playing into the front and getting balls back and going wide and getting the next cross into the box. Mbappe made a run after 2 minutes. He got in behind. You thought, well, this is exactly what you've got Mbappe in the side for. Ball's played down the side. He gets in at the near post and has a shot, and it's easily saved. The only other time they ran in behind was when Griezmann gets brought down for the penalty. Griezmann gets in, Pogba plays the ball in behind, and the penalty.
How does this happen when you've got so much talent?
It must come down to the coach as well as the players. It must come down to the coach. What's your game plan? Where are we trying to get the ball? What are we trying to? How are we going to get it into the front players? How are we going to use those skills that they've got, the attributes they've got? There wasn't, apart from the two full-back, I thought Pavard did really well, the right-back. He got forward at the right times, but he had to do a lot of defending because Griezmann didn't want to defend. He was playing on the right-hand side. Conte again was outstanding, but there wasn't enough creativity, there wasn't enough structure in their play, and that must come down to the coach, but also the players not carrying out the game plan out on the field.
They look like 11 strangers out there.
Yeah, and that's the scary part, is that if you're France, you know what Australia is going to look like. So there are moments in which those players individually, so talented, are going to have to take on the responsibility of, okay, you know what, I'm going to beat my guy. I'm going to break down my guy 1v1 so that then I can create space for others. Because if I break this guy down, now I have an opportunity to go forward, and now we can really free each other up. It wasn't happening. You don't see Mbappe taking anybody 1v1. You don't see Griezmann participating in the game. Dembele nowhere to be seen. Pogba just kind of running around. When your best player against Australia is Kante, it gives you an idea as to what sort of performance you had if you're friends. You would have thought that there would have been multiple opportunities for them to get in behind. Not a chance. Multiple crosses in the box. Not really. And on top of that, what really bothers me is that I had to sit for the last 2 weeks thinking about where Antoine Griezmann was going to go. Was he going to stay? Was he going to go? He gives us this video. He gives us this whole spiel. And we're all here watching. And then he shows up and puts this performance. Come on, man. If you're going to attract the attention of people, then perform. If you're going to be elite, then be elite. Don't pretend to be elite. Don't give me a video. Give me a video and a highlight that I can watch and I can say, yes, this guy's next level.
Frank, on paper, this was the easiest game, if you like, of the group stages. Going forward, can you envisage Deschamps making any changes to that starting 11? Because that three-prong attack that, as you were saying, most people are calling for in France, clearly didn't work this time round.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. I think he sanctioned, in a way, Griezmann, putting him out, even if he scored the goal, because he was inexistent. He put him out. If you saw Griezmann's face when he was going out, he didn't understand. So it was kind of a punishment. I think tomorrow the newspapers here in France are going to talk about that, But really, everybody has to understand that you're not sure to play the next game. I think maybe Didier Deschamps will start again with Dembele and Mbappe, but maybe he will put back Giroud to make sure that we have a strength with maybe Giroud's header, but that at least we have something. It would be a question mark also in the midfield zone. Kante was good, but Tolisso didn't do well. Pogba, even if he created the two actions who lead to the goals, didn't do fantastically as well. So we have to move stuff. We have to make sure that players are not sure that they're going to play easily the next game because they have to to compete between each other. Maybe Lemar can do something. Lemar is a very good player and talented player, and maybe something has to be changed. But do we need to change after one bad performance? I'm not sure as well. It's an all competition. Didier has to think through to make sure that the balance of the team is good, but everybody is tuned in and will give his best.
What do you do, Case? Do you say to them, right, look, you're rubbish, I'm giving you one last chance. Go out there and prove
you've got
wrong.
away with words, haven't you?
Well, it's a good description.
I think Frank makes a good point that, yes, they have to compete against each other, but they also have to compete for each other. Because there's times that you take Conte out of that side. Are you going to run without the ball so I can have space with the ball? And I think this French team is kind of looking, well, I'm going to do the work when I have the ball. I'm not sure I'm going to do the work when I'm not sure I'm going to get the ball. And you have to have that unselfishness across the board. Now, maybe today is not the day that I'm going to shine, so somebody else can take the spotlight. And it's almost, Deschamps has to find a way to get this group of players
that was his problem at the European Championship. At the European Championship, after the first game, he took Griezmann out and he took Pogba. He dropped them both after the very first game. in the Euro Championships because he hadn't settled on his best side. He wasn't quite sure what his best side was.
What would you do, Robert? Would you start Giroud? Would you take Dembele?
Yeah, I would actually play, as we spoke about before, with Giroud up front alongside Mbappe, and I'd play Griezmann in the hole behind and get the fullbacks getting higher up the field and getting crosses into the box. Giroud is the target man. I'm not saying he's the greatest player, but they will have then a focal point, and they'll have the pace in behind, and they'll have Griezmann getting in the ball in little pockets of space to do the creativity.
But you have that much athleticism. When were they pressing Australia higher up the field, trying to win the ball, trying to make it difficult? I mean,
but why? It's the World Cup.
Yeah.
Why are you thinking about, I'm not going to run in this game? It seems so alien to me.
And it is alien, and it should be alien. What I would say is that when I think about this team not being settled yet, I'm thinking, wait a minute, didn't you just go through this in the Euros? Didn't you learn anything from that? Shouldn't that be the learning experience? Because when we all sat here and talked about France as possible winner of this tournament, we said, they learn from the Euros. They know what that feels like, and now they're going to rectify it. When you see them play today against Australia, they didn't change anything. It's still the same team with the same sort of questions, and the answers are trying to be figured out on the field rather than having answers coming onto the game. Now everybody's looking at each other like, well, what are we supposed to do? Well, hold on a second. I thought we should have known that before we
going into the first game of the season. Everybody should really know what the French team is going to be. You shouldn't be saying, well, are they going to play this? Are they going to play Giroud up front? Are they going to get balls into the box? Are they going to use the pace of Mbappe? That comes down to one person, and that's the coach. He's not made up his mind who the best players are and what the best formation is.
But sometimes the players make up the coach's mind for them. He's get his chance, and I
would say it's the other way around. The coach says, this is what I want from you. We're going to press the ball.
Okay.
We're going to press the ball. We're going to press the ball.
Now, he sets that lineup up, and then that player doesn't do it. Okay, now I got to bring another player in.
Then he has to make
and he doesn't do it. So now you're saying, I have all these superstars, but they're not doing what I'm asking them to do, and eventually you run out of time, you find yourself at a tournament, and you're like, what do I do?
Meanwhile, let's just talk about the other game in the group, Denmark with a 1-0 victory over Peru. Peru, I think you could certainly argue, with a better team.
They were the better team, and they had the ball, and they created opportunities, and even without Paolo Guerrero from the start of the match, I thought that he changed Peru in the way that they attacked when he came on the field. But you got to take your chances, and Denmark had a couple opportunities, took one of them, they win 1-0, they got 3 points, and now they're sitting pretty.
That's it, isn't it?
I thought Peru showed great athleticism all around the pitch. The pitch was a bit open for them at times, because Denmark could play, but in terms of athleticism, attacking qualities, Peru I thought were excellent.
We know how important the opening win is in this group, so those two.
And you would have thought if Peru could have snuck a draw, and then kind of got more comfortable, great. But missing the penalty, Schmeichel makes a couple saves, they miss a couple chances, and losing those 3 points is tough.
And now you're going to have to chase the point.
Yep.
And where are you going to go chase? Against France? Good luck. You expect France is going to improve. And so Australia proved that they're not going to be easy to deal with either.
Ali, Casey and Robbo, thank you very much. Thanks to Frank as well. More